All right.
Pull it up on my phone so I can see. Oh, you're already switching over?
Yeah, we're already hot
Nice. Go
and
ahead
live.
and announce what we're doing, Ty.
Hey guys, welcome to the impromptu. Now we were supposed to start two and
Oh,
a
you're
half hours
already
ago.
switching over?
Yeah, we're already
Yep.
hot
Nice. Go
and
ahead
live.
and announce what we're doing, Ty.
Oh my Hey guys, welcome to the impromptu. Now we were supposed to start two and
Oh,
a
you're
half hours
already
ago.
switching over?
Yeah, we're already
Yep.
hot
Nice.
and
Go ahead
live.
and announce what we're doing, Ty.
Oh my Hey guys,
What's going
welcome
on,
to
Ty?
the impromptu. Now that okay, that's
Oh, there we go.
wow.
All right. Sorry for that.
We're not amateurs or anything.
No, we've done this hundreds of times.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, sorry for the 2-hour delay. We've been having technical difficulties all morning.
Some serious technical difficulties too.
Yeah, we fixed one thing, but another thing broke. So what you gonna do? So Ty, go ahead and start us off with our topic for today's
Oh yeah, so
first episode of the commentary track.
the commentary track. This
Only
is sort
on
of our
Geekly Weekly.
yeah, only
and
on
Nerd Rush.
Nerd Rush TV. Yeah, something like that. Well, we'll get that one down to
Whatever.
the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today's show we're going to talk about all things nostalgia. It's
Yes.
we're in a nostalgic generation, I feel like. A lot of we see a lot of shows and movies being remade, rebooted. We're seeing some series come back and some continuation of old series, and we're just gonna, I don't know, kind of get into well, we know anyway. We're no experts, but just kind of get into the meat of why there's such this resurgence of old shows. So,
Yes.
I think. I think we're so I mean the terms remake and reboot and sometimes continuation those are thrown around a lot. Good definition of the two, so you know the difference. Remakes are
I'm gonna stop you real quick, Ty. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them on our Facebook. We will get to you during this episode.
Yeah, so. And we're gonna name off some shows here in a second that are currently or have already been remade or they've been rebooted from our childhood, and to kind of give you the idea, there's kind of a 10-year gap between David and I, so we kind of grew up on different shows. Some of the same shows too at the same time. Some of them overlap a little bit. So
yeah.
If there's any shows, and we're going to go over a list of shows that we found that are being rebooted that you may or may not know about. So that'll be interesting to cover that. But if there's any shows you want to see rebooted or remade
or continued,
if you would like a Firefly continuation,
yes,
then leave those in the comments below. Even if it's not live, we'd love for it to be live. But even if we're talking it and it's not live, we'll still respond to your comments. We want to open this discussion up to everybody.
Yes.
So anyway, remakes are films that or shows. I'm gonna go with the movie definition though of a remake. It's a movie that's been made before, and it's usually redone, sometimes shot for shot with minor differences like modernized setting, modernized script, different actors. So that's a remake. Good examples of remakes are Evil Dead 2 was essentially a remake of The Evil Dead. The 2010 was almost a remake too. It was more of a reimagining than anything. What else? There was a horror movie, a Swedish film called Let the Right One In, and then they re-released it for American audiences, or an Americanized version of it called Let Me In. So that would be considered a remake.
lot of horror films are done like that.
Yeah.
The Ring, off the top of my head, I know that.
Yeah, a lot of the Japanese horror movies are they translate almost shot for shot storyline. Nothing really changes between the Japanese version and the Americanized version. Another Another one is a book series, but it was also a movie. It was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Um, that was essentially a remake of the Dutch. I think it was Dutch. It was a Dutch film, I believe, originally.
That I
Anyway,
don't know.
and then you have reboots like Ghostbusters or Nightmare on Elm Street or the Friday the 13th series or the Rob Zombies Halloween series. And those are reboots, and those are reimaginations of the previous films or television franchises. They usually change a lot of details. The bulk of the picture is the same. The idea is still there, but they generally change a lot of the storyline around. Sometimes different characters. Ghostbusters is another example of a reboot that didn't
They
need to
had
be
all
made.
four female cast,
Yeah,
which that was a bummer. I had a really good pitch for Ghostbusters 3, but oh well.
there was a Ghostbusters 3. It was the video game.
Yes. Um,
No, for all things, I know this isn't a movie review show, but for all things,
let's make it one. No, I'm just kidding.
Ghostbusters there was a lot that it wasn't, and this has absolutely nothing to do with them having an all-female lead. I think that really has nothing to do with it. The fact that the characters were unlikable, they this isn't a review show, but the characters weren't unlikable. It wasn't funny. It didn't have that same humor that the original Ghostbusters did. The story was weak. The villain was weak. Anyway, not a review show though. But yeah, again, so what? Tell us, leave it in the comments, even if you're not with us live. Tell us in the comments anyway. What shows and movies you want to see remade, you want to see rebooted. If you want to, if they're such as Firefly, if there's a show or not really, it doesn't really fit with movies. A continuation doesn't really fit that definition too much, but with series they do for sure. And Firefly would be a good example of one that I'd like to see continued. I know they continued it
Into a movie with
into a movie
Serenity.
with Serenity, which wrapped it up pretty nicely. But I would love to see the cast together again. And
And then there was other continuations such as Girl Meets World and Boy Meets World. One that we didn't put on the list, but I just thought of was The Lion Guard with The Lion King. Disney is doing more of the continuations more than anyone else, really, right now. Where like other ones like we were talking about on Wednesday's show, Nickelodeon, they're kind of remaking everything. Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network with their Teen Titans and Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
It's really interesting though how I mean, if you going through this list, I mean, me and Ty were making it yesterday, and we stopped at 60, just in the past 2 years.
Yeah, and there were plenty more shows that we could add to these lists.
But we decided to cut it down.
Yeah. I mean, some of the, like you were saying, you started on it, Girl Meets World, Fuller House, X-Files, those are all sort of continuations, or in a way they're kind of reboots, too, of old series.
Yeah.
I know that they just recently announced Danny Phantom, and they're doing that, like you said, that Nicktoons shared universe, the Legends of the Hidden Temple, which they're turning into a movie, but I really wish they would bring back
the game show.
Game show format for kids. There's not, and like Carmen Sandiego's another one. There's just tons of them, and Nick was good at that. And maybe there's some out there now. I mean, I'm not aware of any, but it's largely, I don't know. It just doesn't have the same feel that it used to.
Yeah.
And I mean that could have a lot to do with why these shows are making a comeback. I don't know if you have any theories yourself, David.
Well, I mean, we were talking a little bit about how people from our generation, when we were kids, are starting to get into the business that they're kind of saying, "Oh no, let's bring all my childhood shows back," which that's a good theory. There's some truth behind that. I've just noticed though that the shows that aren't from our past, that are like today's shows, they suck. the reboots they're making suck. We just need some good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
It
getting a lot of we're getting a lot of crappy stuff, I guess.
we're getting a
Whether it
lot.
be remade, reboot, or original.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a fine line to tread between rebooting something that needs to be rebooted. Like Ghostbusters didn't. I mean, frankly, it didn't need to be remade. I whatever your thoughts are, it didn't need to be remade at all. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Even potentially with the original cast, maybe that would have been cool because I did like the game Ghostbusters, which who was Bill Murray basically said, or Dan Aykroyd said that was part 3 of the Ghostbusters series. Um,
Yeah.
but the new Ghostbusters didn't need to be remade. A lot of these horror movies that just turn out horribly because it's a familiar franchise.
Oh, we didn't even
And
add it to the series, did we? That's getting
yeah,
rebooted.
I'm kind of excited for that one. At least in its original iteration, I was excited for it. I know
You
it's
can't
changed.
replace Tim Curry though.
No, no. But who did they? Who did they?
I forgot the new guy's name.
Was it Rorsch? No, it wasn't Rorschach. It was. I don't remember. I'm blanking now. We reported on it too a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, but the it there's I forgot where I was going with that, but it's some
Bill
shows
Skarsgård.
I think is that who
Yeah.
was playing it?
Pennywise.
Pennywise, really? Oh, I thought it was
Yeah,
somebody else.
Bill Skarsgård.
Huh? I thought it was somebody else. But there,
I think the only way to really go about this is continuation. I feel like all of the continuing series, the ones that aren't remaking the old stuff but continuing off of them, I think those are the most successful right now. Um, I mean the only one that can come up to the top of my head right now is Girl Meets World, but I mean that's doing great with the audience. It's
yeah,
capturing new audiences, old audiences, and getting people to watch the old one too, because it's not like they can't. You can just watch Girl Meets World without watching Boy Meets World, but you get more in depth when you go back and watch it. Where a
yeah.
reboot, you don't even need the original at all,
Here,
unless you want to see all the nostalgia placed into it.
yeah, and I mean, here's my problem though is it seems like Hollywood they don't take the same risks that they used to with original content. Now that's not to say that they're not making original content because they are, but it's not the safe properties. So they're sort of rolling back to their old properties because they have that name, they have that following, and they're just rehashing the same storylines. And that's, I mean, sometimes you get a good gem out of it. Some people might disagree, but I liked Rob Zombie's reimagining of Halloween, the first one. I didn't so much care for the second one, but
I agree with that because I mean nowadays it's all about the money, and movies are much more expensive now because of all of the new things that are going into it, including TV shows. That the risks are much higher than the benefits.
yeah. And
So
it I get it. And movies are costing more and more. Actors' salaries are going through the roof. So it making movies and making TV shows, it carries a lot higher risk nowadays. So I get it from a business standpoint, but this is what we're left with. We're left with a generation of kind of not really original. Like the blockbusters aren't original like they were in the 90s, in the 80s.
because now you know the blockbuster off the brand. Like, oh, this is Marvel, you know it's going to be a blockbuster.
Yeah,
Oh, this is Disney, you know it's going to be a blockbuster. So on and so forth. Which back then it was, oh, this trailer, you can tell this was going to be a blockbuster.
yeah. And you can't even tell that from trailers nowadays either. They definitely sell the name over anything else than the
quality
content.
of the movie.
And I mean, and there's something to be said too for the trailers that essentially give away the entire plot of the movie in the trailer.
Or they lie to
Because
you,
they're
like Suicide Squad.
yeah, or they another one that the marketing was just completely off. I don't know if you've seen it, but with Liam Neeson, The Gray,
Oh yeah.
they marketed that as Liam Neeson going against a pack of wolves in the woods while he's stranded. And although the wolves played a small part in the movie, that's not what the movie was about at all. In fact, it wasn't even an action movie. It was a very introspective movie. But I don't want to say they're out of touch, but I def I I think as time goes on and we get older, I think different minds are going to step into those roles that ultimately make those decisions, the executives, and we
Mhm.
might, in the future, we might be in a different spot where we do see a little more original content playing out. But I think we're just kind of at an impasse with it right now.
I'm
So
gonna throw an example for everyone who saw Jurassic World. I know Ty complained a lot about this. Was how much nostalgia was in that movie, and there was more nostalgia than story.
yeah, it
I mean,
was.
you go and see that, and everything was just like, oh, remember this from the first three? And the story was just so lacking.
It was basically the director and the writer's excuse to make this just big throwback movie, which was cool, but that's not what I went to go see Jurassic World for. I went to go see Jurassic World for a continuation of the story, and we got that to a small degree.
Yeah,
It was
I mean, there were so many like they opened up so many plots in it that could have been used more in the film. For example, the whole divorce between the parents or the kid that had autism, and it was more just one off. Like they told you, and then never went anywhere else with it because they were too busy showing the mosquito or the jeep, so on and so forth.
yeah, exactly. And I can appreciate a movie that has some throwbacks, some references, but when the whole movie is like I would have been pleased if the only throwback that they had was when when they were in the woods and they ran into the old building.
Yeah.
To me, that was great. That was a good sort of reference to the original. I like that. It could have been incorporated more into the story.
Mm.
But instead it resorts to like cheap jokes throughout the whole movie, and it kind of takes away
Yeah.
from the experience that I want out of Jurassic World. So to that extent, I mean, it was still a fun movie. I still enjoyed watching it. Um, it just wasn't what I wanted, and I think they were catering too much to the fan base with that one.
And
Um,
Ghostbusters, I'm gonna say, did pretty good on the nostalgia. I mean, it wasn't in your face. Like I mean, they showed you like the old building. That was kind of a little cheap joke. The whole firehouse. You saw the movie, right, Ty? I
I
think we
did. Oh
saw it
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
I forgot
and
I
then
saw it, but I did see it.
and then bringing in the car, that was good. Um, so on that retrospect, I did enjoy Ghostbusters. I thought its nostalgia was good, but the story was again lacking, like Jurassic World.
I thought though it did a huge disservice to the fans when they basically, instead of making it that continuation and falling in the same universe, they just
Mhm.
completely rebooted the whole thing
Yeah,
and disregarded the old crew completely. I think that was a huge disservice to the fans.
and
They
then
could
to
have,
kill Bill Murray,
yeah, yeah, but he
that was
wasn't. It wasn't his character. It was. See, I don't know what the thought process was behind that.
yeah.
Um, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that room when they made that decision to completely just toss the old crew to the wind. But it I was a little disappointed in that part. But
Yeah.
again, not a review show, right?
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
another good example of Hollywood, not taking risks and just rehashing the same tired formula And now, don't get me wrong here. I love the movie. I've been anticipating it for 30 years. But episode 7, I mean, yeah, they had a winning formula with it. So I
But
get it.
that's
But
because it was episode 4.
it was episode 4, just
It was reimagined.
redone, yeah, and it was a fun movie. I loved it there, but I mean,
And I mean, it was good with the nostalgia in there. I mean, the Millennium Falcon, Luke's lightsaber being passed down. But this whole story was just like watching. If you watch the two movies together, you'd be able to understand them both perfectly.
yeah,
And that's wrong. You
yeah,
shouldn't be able to do that.
exactly. But and I don't know. See, I would have expected something a little different from J.J. Abrams with him heading it up, but
Well, I mean, look at Star Trek. Look what he did to Star Trek.
I
Um,
I
he,
mean,
he's like, oh no, this happens in the same universe, but we're just gonna go back in time and make sure nothing happens. Like that was a little.
I
I don't
get
know how you
it.
felt about that.
I wouldn't consider myself a Trekkie, and I get that the movies kind of took the whole science aspect out that the original series is based on, but
Definitely did do that.
I still like the movies. I liked them all. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed
No,
watching them all, and I'll watch them
not saying
all
that I don't like
over
them.
and
I
over again.
just feel like his approach to them by just making it go back in time was a little far fetched. I would have preferred a reboot over just it saying um over it just saying that, hey, we're gonna just erase the entire history
Yeah,
of William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. Except Leonard Nimoy is gonna be the only one that survives. So I don't know.
yeah. So I mean, so why? I mean, why do you think we kind of touched on it? There's sort of an unoriginality floating around, and there's higher risk, less gain with more original content. They're not making as many, they're not taking as many risks when it comes to new properties. But why else do you think shows are making a comeback? Why these movies and TV shows are coming back? Why are we seeing so much of our childhood reimagined now?
You know what? I mean, besides the whole theory with the whole our generation's coming in and kind of taking over, and they want their stuff. I can't really, I can't really say. I mean, what do you recall what what really started this whole thing, this whole train?
You know, I don't know if I can. I don't know if we could really pinpoint, like, really put our finger on one thing, because I mean, they've been remaking movies for years. Even
Yeah.
they've remade 40s and 50s movies to the into the 90s and early
But
2000s.
see, that makes sense because they're like 40 years apart. It's a whole new audience.
Yeah,
We're getting stuff from 10 years ago.
yeah.
Like
You,
it's still the same audience watching.
somebody,
More on the TV side than the movie side.
yeah. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what kind of really started this craze. I don't know if there's one show in particular or one movie, or just the kind of mindset that we're in now, as we get older and we're the adults now. Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a movie you could think of or a TV show you can think of
From
from your childhood that kind of, or from that might have sort of set all of this into motion? I can't really. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on one.
I can't
peg it.
either. I mean, there's just like there's so many that have just happened. I can't. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess Star Wars was the first one that I can remember when they did the prequels.
Yeah. And even that was like 20 years.
Yeah, but from 10 years, the whole 90s thing.
You know, somebody, and it kind of gets into the, like, who or what.
Oh, and then we haven't even gone over the whole live action Disney thing.
Oh yeah, them remaking all of their classic cartoons into live action Disney movies. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
which is
mean,
weird.
yeah, that feeds into like who and what is feeding this nostalgia craze. Definitely Netflix. I want to say they're pioneering the way. They're bringing back all
Oh,
these old shows from the
Arrested
past.
in Development.
Arrested Development is a good one. Did you?
That that's probably the first TV series one I can think of.
That's definitely early. I mean, I know. I just can't think of any right now. There are some earlier than that even, and I'm talking 2010 even as early as then. Um, but it definitely Netflix, and I think YouTube has kind of been playing a part in that too, because you can go on and watch old shows, or even I get a kick out of just watching the intros to some of the old cartoons I used to watch. That just
Yeah.
brings back a flood of memories. So they've definitely been the catalysts, and Netflix is kind of leading the way. There was actually, um,
Oh, hey, I'm getting a note in here, which I'm getting two notes. I don't know why you guys are texting me. You guys can comment on our Facebook. But Danielle says that live action Disney is due to their copyrights running out. Sorry, I just accidentally
oh,
opened up the phone.
that is true. Yeah,
Copyrights running out, which also makes sense with Fantastic Four. Fox had to remake Fantastic Four so that Marvel didn't get it, and they had the choice between Daredevil or Fantastic Four, and they obviously chose the wrong one because Daredevil is a huge Netflix hit right now.
yeah. That yeah,
Uh,
that's a solid point. With Disney remaking all of their properties and now making them live action, it's because they don't want to lose they want to renew their copyrights on them. I mean, just look at the flood of Jungle Book movies. We just learned of another one coming out next year with Benedict Cumberbatch
yeah.
as Shere Khan and
Um,
some other people. I'm like, we're just
I'm gonna
getting
cut.
flooded with them.
I'm gonna cut you off again. We also have from my mom. TV Land started bringing back the nostalgia too. So
Yeah, TV Land. That network's been around for quite a while too.
yeah. Oh, and one we mentioned on the show on Wednesday, Batman, The Return of the Cape
Oh yeah,
Crusader.
the Return of the
You
Craped.
keep
Can't
saying
talk.
that.
Return of the Caped Crusader. Yeah, it's that's out October, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I think
October.
it's October on digital, and then November on Blu-ray and DVD.
Oh, cool.
So
Um,
that one was kind of out of the blue. Like, okay,
all the original cast too. Burt Ward, Julie Newmar.
Adam
Why am I?
West.
Thank you, Adam West. Why did I blank on
I
his
have
name of
no
all people?
idea. And we'll be seeing him in like what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, at Long Beach, right?
Yes.
Long Beach Comic Con. Yeah,
Or
that'll be
wait, no,
exciting.
Kevin Conroy's gonna be there.
Oh, Kevin Conroy.
That's right. Adam West is gonna be at Kamikaze at the end of October.
Actually, I think so is Burt Ward and Julie Newmar, if I'm
Yeah, they're
not
all gonna
mistaken.
be there. It's gonna
The
be
whole
in
cast there. Yeah,
Batman reunion.
that'd be awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome to see. See, and
You know what? I'm gonna throw in a little fun fact right here. I know that Adam West was banned from wearing the cowl again from Warner Brothers. Uh,
really,
yeah. So he could pose next to the car and everything, but he can't be in his costume and do it. There's some more. There's a lot of information about it in this documentary, which is kind of escaping my head right now. But I wonder if that's why they did a or animated one, because I mean technically he's not wearing the cowl.
yeah.
So I don't know. Just a little fun fact that I learned.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think Tyrone told me that.
Oh,
It's either
interesting.
Tyrone or Ray.
So, back to the nostalgia craze. There was actually somebody of all places, Tumblr, but I liked it. They kind of hit the nail on the head. But somebody made a post. Um, the question is, I mean, the comment that kind of kicked it off was a '90s kid. Don't you mean a sad adult?
A sad
And
adult.
somebody, yeah, and
That's actually a good point.
yeah,
People who
and
can't get out of the past.
yeah, exactly. But then this is where they get really deep, and I'm like, actually, that's a really good point. I'll try to just summarize it as best as I can. Um, but yeah, someone read a post that described '90s kids as, and I think we could both be considered '90s kids at this point. We overlapped at that point.
Yeah.
are the generation of nostalgia, and it's because, and I can see this. There was so much technological development and advancement, and it happened at such a quick rate of speed. I mean, we went from, you know, no computers essentially, or very limited computer access. I had a computer growing up, but there wasn't a whole lot you could do with it. Uh, People played outside, people went outside more, and now all of that. So we remember these technologies like corded phones, uh, cassette players, boom boxes, those big block recorders, stuff like that. Uh, and then it went from that technologies that within, I mean, 5 to 10 years are just obsolete now.
Yeah.
It went into, now we have a computer in our pocket. We have smartphones. I'm sitting in front of, you know one big computer with two monitors. I got my smartphone, I got my laptop. I mean, in such a short span of time, it's almost like we didn't even get to enjoy the stuff that we grew up with, because within a
Every
matter
year,
of,
all your stuff becomes obsolete.
yeah, nowadays it's still true. I mean, I remember my flip phone, getting excited about going from a Nokia, or a Nokia, apparently it's
I
pronounced
still love
Nokia,
flip phone.
to a flip phone, and I was stoked about that. And I just it it's, they call it, it, when, because that huge technological shift happened in our quote unquote formative years. It really plays an impact. So we're, now that we've reached this technological peak, for now anyway, of our generation. We're kind of wanting to relive our childhood, and I hear that in more than just TV shows and movies. People reminisce about games that they played, uh, things that they used to collect, coins, stamps, you name it, comic books. I mean, people still collect comic books, but it was a much
Yes.
bigger thing, than it is now. And it's because it was just such a quick development that we kind of missed out on the simpler things of our childhood. And I think that's where, so I think that post really nailed it on the head. Yes, I
Okay.
said that right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
um,
totally see that.
it makes it feel like, if you think about it, I'm 30. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was 15 living in this. That's 15 years ago. That's not that long ago in the grand scheme of things when you think about our our parents' generation, who, they had a slow technological advancement over the course of their whole lifetime, pretty much for 40, 50 years. And we saw the same kind of surge up in technology
Mm.
in a fraction of the time, in 10 years, in some cases 5 years, 5, 10 years. So it's different mindsets going into it. So it's honestly, in my opinion, it's the best argument as to why 90s kids especially uh, like to reminisce about things of the past, and why they're clinging on to it so hard that they're bringing all of this stuff back. And I think that's the strongest argument for that.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was reading about how Disney, how like it goes along with the whole Beauty and the Beast coming out, because I think they're on their like 25th anniversary or something, and they're making the live action remake with Emma Watson and all those other people who I
Yeah.
can't remember, Josh Gad, and they were saying that with all the new technology, all the CGI that they're able to do, they're able to capture all the magic that should have really told the story rather than the animation and the drawing. Because, like, no lie, cartoons and stuff, they kind of put off to some people. Disney's a different story, because, like we were saying earlier about the whole brand, uh, you throw Disney on there and adults will go see it, teenagers will go see it, and kids will go see it. And now with this live action, they have the technology to make CGI. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the Beauty and the Beast characters? Obviously, Beast. Uh,
A
the
Cogsworth,
yeah, clock.
Lumiere,
Yeah.
the candlestick, Chip,
So
Mrs. Potts.
they're able to make them more
Was one of my favorite Disney
realistic.
movies.
And if you haven't seen the pictures of them, they look kind of scary. Like they probably shouldn't have done this because I don't know. You saw the pictures, right?
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Beauty and the Beast is probably my second or third favorite Disney movie, so I'm going to be extra critical of it. I'm curious how they're going to pull off making inanimate objects animated and
Oh,
live and real. You know, it's going to kind of look kind of creepy, I feel like, but we'll see.
another comment. Added point. Once you're an adult, you can afford the things you couldn't do as a child. A family has to consider the family, whereas when you are at a point that you can bring back what you wanted and share it with the next generation.
It's that is, I mean, that's absolutely another good point. It is. I mean, yeah, I grew up seeing all these things, and you know, kind of they were at arm's length for me, and now I'm old enough, and I can go out and afford to buy those things. They're not around,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's the
so
craze with collecting toys
who,
and stuff.
yeah, exactly. Who
That was
was that
back in
comment
the
from?
90s. My mother.
Oh, okay. Thank you, David's mother.
Um, yeah, I know. I was talking to one of Tyrone's friends at Comic Con, and or no, it was one of Tyrone's friends' workers. And yeah, they were just saying how it's how a lot of people who were a kid at the time when these toys came out are coming to buy them because they weren't able to afford them when they were a child. And it sucks because back then they were like, $3, and
Yep,
now they're being sold for
$300.
yeah. So it's crazy how that happened.
It is. It's just, you know, I'd love to get some perspective from, you know, psychologists on this, sociologists, you know, like to
Yeah.
see if it's also a mental longing. Is it going to affect us when we're, you know, when we're 50, 60, 70 years old? Like how, you know, how are things going to change?
And are the gaps going to get smaller? I mean,
Yeah.
if back then, it took 40 years to the remake and then now it's 10 years, um, excluding Fantastic Four, which was like 3 years, um, are we going to start seeing reboots more often? And that's going to be,
I mean, in some respects we are. I mean, look, we had two Jungle Book movies this year alone. We have a third one next year. We had one that came out. I can't remember the year, but it was with Jason Lee. I don't know if you recall that one.
I actually don't recall that one.
That was early. That could have been maybe even the '90s too. But I mean, just that alone, we're already seeing that get remade so many times, and then yeah, it's probably going to get to a point where
Fantastic Four, which might be going through another reboot. They
it
don't know if they're going to do a sequel or a reboot just because of how the audience turned to the other
yeah,
one,
how
turned
poorly
against the other one.
the other, yeah
So who knows about that? But
yeah.
yeah, eventually they might be coming sooner and sooner. Teen Titans, they remade that, and I think that went off the air in 2008. I think I was in eighth grade. That was a great series, which is cool. We're actually right now scheduling an interview with uh, Control Freak from Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans and the new one, Teen Titans Go. My mom says, "Stop the reboots. Need more creativity."
I
Which,
I wholeheartedly agree with you. See, but that's the thing that kind of goes back to my one of the first points I made is the original stuff is out there.
the indie films,
It's indie films, yeah, but
they don't have the name on it.
they don't have the name attached. They're kind of few and far between too. The ones that are you know there's some indie films that they're for a very selective audience because they're more like art house films, which that's doesn't cater to everybody. But there's plenty of other movies out there that could be successful in Hollywood. They have great stories. Um,
Stranger Things,
Stranger Things is one. I mean, that
that
got
was
shopped around
rejected.
to 20 times before Netflix picked it up, and Netflix picked it up in the first meeting.
Yeah,
So, and we just need to see more of that, more House of Cards, more. Netflix is really killing it with their original content, and we need more of that in the movie theaters. But again, it's so expensive and cost prohibitive sometimes that studios are understandably hesitant when it comes to making those decisions. But I mean, that's indie films. That's where the future of originality is, so to speak. You
Yeah.
know. Oh,
Anyways, because we are kind of going a little long today.
yeah.
Um,
What?
oh, we got a Teen Titans was also going to have a live action reboot, which has since been scrapped. A little bit of information, which I don't know how official it is, but they're actually talking about doing a Teen Titans movie, which is why the live action one was scrapped. I'm assuming Danielle, you made that post. You made it under Nerd Rush account. Don't worry, Ruben does the same thing. Um, my mom says that Teen Titans Go is great, but she hasn't seen the original series with the whole Slade and all that fun stuff, which they actually said in the movie. Deathstroke, Slade Wilson will be the villain of it, so that'll be interesting. I forgot what I was saying before I saw all those comments. I
Just
can't remember.
nope. That was we were just kind of we were gonna kind
Oh
of
yeah,
close
because I
it
was
up
saying
from
that.
there.
Yeah, we're getting closing up. What are some shows, movies that you would want to see remade, rebooted, or continued?
Yeah, tell us there. Here's some. I'm gonna read off a few. There's 60 here, so I'm not gonna read off all 60, but I'm gonna kind of cherry pick out of them. But there's some shows
We've
that
already
maybe you
mentioned a
know.
couple of them.
Yeah, we mentioned some of them, but there's some shows on here that you may or may not know are being remade, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know some of these when you were putting the list together. But Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, Samurai Jack. There's that Nicktoons Shared Universe, Teletubbies.
We got one comment. Danielle, you can still comment as a Nerd Rush if you can't change it. You don't have to text me. She wants to see Chuck. Do you want to see that rebooted or remade or continued?
Wait, Chuck?
Chuck.
Already?
Well, that's been off the air for a while now.
Not more than 5 or 10 years, right?
I think it. I want to say it ended 2005. It either ended or
Oh my
started.
gosh. It's 2016. Wow. See
Yeah.
what I mean? Time flies. That's no joke.
We got BJ and the Bear. I don't know what that is. Ty, you might.
I
You're
don't
old.
know.
But that's one that wants to be I'm gonna guess rebooted or continued.
Okay, okay. You know what I would like to see rebooted?
What?
Such an obscure cartoon. I'm sure one person in our whole audience of 12 people are gonna know what I'm talking about. But they did a animated Legend of Zelda cartoon, and they aired it side by side with an animated Super Mario Brothers cartoon.
Oh God, the Super Mario's movie.
Oh, Super Mario movie, yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
Let's not go there. That was one of those movies is so bad it's good.
Yeah.
But that cartoon, that Legend of Zelda cartoon, I'd love to see that rebooted.
Yeah, Danelle says that
Better.
she wants to see Chuck continued because she
Okay.
did not like the ending.
You hear that, Zachary Levi? Did I get the actors right? I never get the actors right.
Yeah, that's Zachary
Oh,
Levi.
okay. I don't know. I don't know
What?
how I don't anymore actually, but I used to always confuse Zachary Levi with
Chris Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick. I don't know why.
They don't
They don't
look
look anything alike. Chris Hardwick hasn't really been on any TV shows like Zachary Levi has, so I don't know. It's just one of my crutches.
My mom said Howard the Duck. That actually might be getting remade, since they already introduced the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What were you saying?
Yeah, they introduced or reintroduced Howard the Duck at the end of Guardians. Was
Guardians
it?
of the Galaxy.
Post-Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah, post. Credits.
Along
I
with
wonder,
Cosmos the dog.
and we haven't heard anything about that since. So I wonder if they did that to kind of feel out how audiences would feel about that. And I mean,
It took great. I mean, people were all over it.
yeah. What else we have here? Oh yeah, Goosebumps was another movie that was remade. And it
With
sounds
Jack
like they're going
Black.
to reboot the TV series, right? Is that what you were telling me the other day?
Yes, I
Yesterday?
think they were. Well, they're gonna do a sequel. It looks like for the movie with Jack Black. As for
Okay.
the TV series, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Um,
We got
one show I want to see continued, and it had a great ending. But it just needs to be a movie. And I don't know about you, Ty, but I'm not really into fan fiction. Like I don't write it. Um, but I have the perfect. I know I said this also about Ghostbusters, but I have the perfect story for a Psych movie. I know everybody on Psych wants to do it, but the writers are still kind of like, we don't know if we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I have the perfect one, and there was one storyline that they did not follow all the way through with that they could have, and I want to see that come back as a movie. Um, Psych is like my favorite TV show, always has been since it came on.
Even more favorite than The Office?
Yes, actually,
All right.
surprising. I'm not into the whole like detective shows. I don't watch like Law and Order or CSI or any of those ones. But Psych was just amazing. It was hilarious, and
Yeah.
they need a movie just to end everything. I mean, they already did end it, but they have one more story that they're overlooking. And they need it. Sorry. What?
Yeah. No, there's it just reminded me of another cartoon I grew up on. I actually bought the action figures for it. I don't remember how long it lasted, but it felt like it only lasted for about a year or two. Um, but the cartoon was called Exo Squad, and it was basically a group of humans, and then they had other evolved humans called Neo Sapiens. Um, And if you haven't seen that, do yourself a favor. Try to find it. I don't know where they carry it. I don't think it's on any of the streaming services, although I wish it was. But it's called Exo Squad. I would love to see that one come back. But it's humans in mech suits, and each mech armor was different. It was unique to the character, and all the characters were unique. And the storyline, it had a deep. It definitely wasn't a cartoon for kids, even though it was a cartoon for kids. It had deep, dark, sometimes even themes around humans and the destruction of humans and how they encroach. It was a good show. It was way ahead of its time, I think.
Yeah.
But that one I'd love to see remade. A couple of the other ones, and I guess we'll kind of wrap it up.
Well, wait. I got two on here. I gotta bring back Leverage. Which have you seen that show?
I love Leverage.
Leverage
Yes.
was a good show. I forgot. I really like that one. I
Yes.
mean, it's not really detective, but oh my gosh, that was a great show.
It's such a fun show. You know what I would like to see different from Leverage, though? I'd like to
What?
see it move away from the what do you call that? Where it's a procedural, where each episode is its own
Yeah.
story. I would love to
Have
see a
one
Leverage.
big
Yeah, I'd love to see
arc.
a Leverage season that is a serialized season. So
And
they spend the whole season trying to work their way up to this one job.
yeah,
I think that would be amazing. It's the
I could
perfect
see
show for it.
Netflix picking that up and doing it in like a 10, 13 episode season.
Yeah, but I just hope that if that ever comes to pass, that it's not a procedural like the original was, because
Yeah.
they had a few stories that kind of passed from one to the other, but I would love to just see all those stories expanded over a season. I don't know, but I love that show. It's one of my favorites. Oh, another one. I'm gonna call it really quick before you name that one because I'll forget it. It's called Damages. It had Glenn Close and Rose Byrne in it. It's on Netflix. I think it was originally either a USA or a Stars show. Um, but that one is an exceptional movie. Sorry, it's an exceptional series. It's a serialized one, so you have to, all the storylines carry over from one episode to the other, and it's a great show. What was the other one?
So Danielle agrees with me to bring back Psych. My mom says for Leverage, they ended it with Parker being the new boss, so they could definitely develop that character and maybe
Absolutely.
even go into the series that you were suggesting. And then my dad also said BJ and the Bear, so I'm guessing that was a big series back then.
I gotta
So
ask my mom about that. See if she knows what it is. BJ and the Bear. I don't.
yeah,
I'm not familiar at all.
so
That's cool though.
I mean, it's funny because we're sitting here for 40 minutes complaining about all those shows.
But you know
But
what?
then we go off. Oh my gosh, here's 800
You know
that they
what?
should redo.
It's true, and I will wholly admit to my contradictive attitude about it. I want to see originality, but at the same time, I also want to see these shows I grew up on reimagined and continued. I'm not gonna lie that there's a contradiction there. I just
Yeah,
want
no,
both. I
there
want
is.
my cake and I want to eat it too. So maybe one day.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of these shows that I'm saying, Psych, Leverage. Oh my gosh, I'd love those to come back. But yeah, I'd like to see some originals.
Yeah, I'd like to see some. I'd like to see, in particular, I'd love to see a kind of superhero series that isn't, maybe the characters aren't superheroes. They're just they're embracing their individual talents and becoming heroes. I'd love to see a show like that. If that sounds like something you'd like to see, you should definitely put some feelers out to the studios and say, hey, we're looking for a project like that.
Yeah, because
I don't know anybody who's carrying a project like that. But
my mom says she wants them to reimagine but not ruin these shows, which
yes,
that's the biggest problem. Is when they do, a lot of people will complain that they're ruined because it's not like the original, when it's never going to be the original. So you got to take it as a new, as if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually have a lot of people like tuning in for this episode. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. As we're wrapping up.
As we're wrapping it up, asking people what they'd like to see, rebooted, remade, or continued.
Yeah, I'm gonna read some more of these. If you guys have some more you'd want to see remade or rebooted or relaunched,
go ahead and comment, and we'll definitely bring it up.
We'll get to it. I think we're gonna probably be wrapping up here in a couple of minutes, though.
Yeah, because we're going on 51 minutes.
So
for our 30-minute show.
Reading Rainbow, that one you already know. That was rebooted. I was excited about that. It was rebooted through a Kickstarter project too. So that was really cool. DuckTales, I saw some of the concept art for that, and I grew up with DuckTales, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, all of those. And I'm looking forward. They stayed true to the original art style with the DuckTales concept art. The Power Rangers movie I'm stoked about. I won't say I'm too on top of the whole series because it's been on for 20 plus years, since 92, 93. But I obsessed over the first series with the original Power Rangers and the whole continuation of that story. So I'm looking forward to the movie and what they do with it. I hope that they do it justice. I guess Married with Children's getting a reboot. It's going to be with Christina Applegate and Dave Faustino. They are already confirmed.
Well, they confirmed that it's happening.
They've confirmed it's happening.
So,
I'm going to go ahead and take that to mean that they're also going to
whether or not they have the authority to do that, they did it. So, yeah, for all you people watching that, that's a big one. Married with Children.
Oh yeah. As long as they keep with the same level of comedy, and it was the same tone too. As the tone was important. That's what made that show so unique.
I'm not getting frozen.
Gilmore Girls, we know. We got The Tick coming to Amazon. Star Trek, of course, is coming to CBS. There's still a little controversy there because it's coming to CBS's their subscription service. So we'll see how that plays out. Kindergarten Cop 2 with Dolph Lundgren. Go figure.
Oh God, I can't believe they're doing that.
Some of the other movies, you might see the billboards for it already, but Bridget Jones's Baby is out, or it's getting released. I actually don't know the release date on any of that. Cruel Intentions, they're making that into a TV series. I really enjoyed the movie, the first one. The other 20 that followed it, I wasn't such a big fan of. But the first one I really enjoyed. Cruel Intentions is a remake of a 80s or 80s movie called Dangerous Liaisons with Uma Thurman and John Malkovich, set in the 17th century. So it's a completely different setting, and Cruel Intentions was, I guess, a reimagining of that. We got Mary Poppins, and of course we mentioned Batman and the Caped. See, I keep saying that
always.
Every time. Batman and the Caped Crusader. We had the Rocky Horror, which was just recently on air. Grease, Bad Boys 4. So we're getting a few. Oh yeah, the Little Mermaid live action. The Pete's Dragon, which is already released. So some of these I'm excited for. Others I'm like, why? What's the point? So we'll see. It's nothing we can change, so we just kind of have to live with it.
I got a couple of comments here. So we got from my dad, Blossom, not
Blossom.
Totally brain that back. From Danielle. It wasn't popular, but I would love to see Agent Carter come back. I feel it would have done better if given a false slot or if they turned it into a movie, rather a series. It would have been interesting to see the beginning of S.H.I.E.L.D. Uh, my mom says, I am sad they canceled Mysteries of Laura Diamond. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, not me.
My dad says, Chips, or better, Knight Rider,
Ooh,
which
yes.
they actually
How about
tried
both?
rebooting Knight Rider a couple of years ago,
They
but
did.
that I don't know if it failed or not, if it was just a mini series, but it's no longer on.
You know, I'm
Hmm.
down with the old reboots that except and I was excited about Hawaii Five O, and I know my mom watches it.
Oh yeah, Hawaii Five O is not on that list.
Hawaii Five O, but I watched a couple of YouTube videos and on their product placement, and it seems that that show's gone into the territory of it's just a big long commercial for as many agencies as they can get. There's a 3 or 4 minute long scene in there about a Subway sandwich in Hawaii Five O.
You know
I'm
what?
not joking.
They did that Chuck when they were towards the end. Every episode you had one character with a Subway sandwich saying, "Oh, I got this foot long marinara with this kind of
Oh
cheese, all
man,
for this much." And it's like,
I
all right, that's a little.
it's a little
um,
much. Yeah, you know
we
I
also,
get it. They got to pay their bills somehow.
yeah, we also got from Danielle. It will be interesting to see how well it would do in this generation, considering that they were trying to get Bundy's off air in the '90s. So
Yeah,
she's referring to
his
Married with Children because
it
that was a different kind of comedy that
it
this
was.
generation might be too uh, upset with.
Yeah, it was a very male centric, misogynistic. Call the word you want it. That's what it was. But it played well. It wasn't. I didn't find it offensive, and I still don't find it offensive. It's
Yeah,
just comedy. You know,
yeah. People need to
no
stop
one's
being so
taking this
offended.
seriously. Yeah, and I get both sides, the injustices that movies and TV shows play like that, but maybe if we could all just step back and appreciate the comedy behind
Hmm.
anything, we might be a little happier.
Then we also got my mom saying Mary Poppins is supposed to be a different book, not a recreate. Which we have Mary Poppins on that list.
Yeah, Mary Poppins is on there.
With do you remember who's supposed to be in it?
I don't recall.
I feel like Elizabeth Banks is in it, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
And then my dad says, how about the Night Stalker from the '70s? It's a reporter who investigates the paranormal and other oddities.
Oh, that
Familiar with
sounds.
that one,
I'm not, but that sounds like something I kind of want to watch.
right? So, um, yeah, those are all the comments we got. So,
All right, cool. How about shows that
oh,
don't need to be
oh, it's
remade?
Emily Blunt. That's who it is,
Oh,
not
okay, okay,
Elizabeth Banks.
okay.
Thank you, Danielle, for that correction.
And thank you everybody for all your comments and tuning in and everything. Oh,
Yes.
a couple of shows that don't need to be remade. Columbo doesn't need to be remade. Rockford Files doesn't need to be remade. But you know what does need to be remade? I would
Hmm.
love to see, and I hope that that's what they're landing with the Star Trek, with the CBS Star Trek. But
Yeah.
I would love to see Star Trek remade, but with more of the science and the exploration behind it than raw action. That's what I
Yeah.
appreciated about the old Star Trek series. I hope that that's what they're doing with this new Star Trek series. But anyway,
We also need another Galaxy Quest. I'm just gonna throw that there.
yes, yeah, that's been on and off the books for a while.
Yeah.
Relaunching Galaxy Quest, or not relaunching, but making it into a TV series. So,
Yeah. So, Ty, I'm gonna cut you off because we're at 59 minutes.
yep,
Let's do all the wrap ups right now.
cool.
We'll make this an even 60-minute show.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you guys. Follow us, of course, on Facebook, which is where you're at right now. It's Nerd Rush TV. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Nerd Rush TV. Search YouTube. Search. That was wow.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Nerd Rush TV. Go to YouTube. Search Nerd Rush, and you'll find our channel there. Subscribe to that channel. We're going to do a lot more video updates. You'll see this on there today.
Some cool interviews that we're gonna be doing coming up.
Yep. check out nerdrushtv.com for all of our articles,
Yes, our site
updates,
is revamped
events.
and looks awesome.
Yes, it is an amazing site. So, but like us, share the video. That's how people find out about us. We're doing all the work that we can to get our name out there, and we would love if you could help us on that front and share this with all your friends and family. Subscribe on YouTube. This is how we're gonna get ourselves out there. Even if you don't think one of your friends is gonna like and subscribe because it's not their rhythm. They're not into this sort of stuff.
Not their
You
cup of
never
tea.
know. They might know somebody who is into that stuff, and so don't make any assumptions. Just if you don't mind, share it.
Just
like
click
us,
the share
talk about
button.
us. That's all it takes. Yeah, you don't have to type anything extra.
No.
So thank you again for tuning in. We don't have a topic for next week. We'll announce that on our Geekly Weekly show, which is every Wednesday at 6 p.m. here on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So join us there for that.
And always, just like today, oh, wow, we got Jen and Unique joining us as we're tuning out.
Yeah.
Don't forget, our shows are all interactive. All of our live shows are interactive. So please leave us your comments, concerns, questions, and they will be answered as your episode. And if you were with us on Wednesday, you saw that too. So
yes. All right. And I think with that,
we are out of here.
We're going to sign out.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.